Before we complete this project, let's demo the final results. So we have a radio button demo where we're going to add radio buttons. And remember, from JavaScript, radio buttons are really useful when you want to select only one of multiple options. So in this case, you get to select one meat, one potato, one vegetable. Although applesauce, vegetable, I'm suspicious. So we can either choose chicken or beef, but we can't have both. We can have a baked potato french fry, can't have both. We can have applesauce or green beans, can't have both. If we place the order, again, we get the little pop-up message window with our order. Okay, so let's see how we code this. To begin this project, I opened Label Demo and changed what I need to change to make this the radio button demo. So I changed the name of the class, changed my doc string, and I gave a title to my window, and then changed my main to call the radio button class. Let's get started setting up the initial state of our window. In this line of code, we are adding the label that will be our meat label, which will contain 2 radio buttons, one for chicken and one for beef. Since radio buttons work by only allowing one button in a group to be selected at a time, we do need to establish a group. So we are creating a meat group and adding a radio button group. And we are establishing where this group will be located. And since we want 2 rows of radio buttons, we add a row span of 2. If you wanted 2 columns of buttons, you would add a column span of 2. By default, one of our options will be selected. So the code that lets us identify which one, like we create the button with this code, but we identify it here. So we can refer to it later in this code where we select it to be the default. So this code makes the chicken radio button our default selected radio button. And then this code creates our radio button for beef. So just this code should work. Run it in the browser and make sure that you have this and chicken is selected by default. And you can switch back and forth. Okay, now let's add the labels and the buttons for the potatoes and the vegetables and our last button. So again, we create a label that will just say potato, and it's going to appear over the set of radio buttons. Here we create our radio button group that will associate the radio buttons in this section together, so only one can be selected. We create a radio button for French fries, but we are also identifying it with the name default RB so that we can, in this code, target it to be the default. And the last code creates our baked potato. The vegetable code works the same. I'm not going to walk you through it step by step. And then finally, we create our button to place our order. We are doing a column span over 3 columns, and we will execute the place order method when this code executes, or when this button is pressed, sorry. Finally, let's add our place order method. This method should be aligned with your init method. It is part of your radio button demo class. We have our doc string. We're creating an empty variable called message. And then if meat group, its selected buttons text is selected, then it will add that into message. The same with our tater group, the same with our veg group. And then a message box will appear with the title customer order, with the message that contains the value of whatever these are after they've all been selected. Now we don't have an option here for you didn't place an order, because by default the first option in each of our radio button groups will be selected because we created a default selection. If you save this and run your code, you should have this, and we can select chicken or beef, french fries or baked potato, just like in the demo. If we place our order, it appears in the pop-up window.